The sun had barely risen over the grand palace when the first hints of tension began to appear. The queen stood on the balcony, her gaze steady, holding the Camilla shield close to her chest. It wasn't an ordinary shield. It carried the legacy of countless battles, both real and metaphorical, that the queen had fought over the years. Its silver surface gleamed in the morning light, a reminder of her unwavering spirit. In the shadows of the palace courtyard, rumors were already spreading like wildfire. Chris Rock, the famous comedian and provocateur, had returned to town with an agenda. He claimed to have uncovered scandalous secrets that would shatter the queen's reputation once and for all. His words dripped with confidence as he shared his lies with eager ears, knowing well that in times of unrest, the people were desperate for gossip. The queen's advisors had warned her that Chris Rock was a master of twisting the truth. He could spin even the smallest of facts into an elaborate web of deceit. "Your Majesty," said her closest aide, a stern-faced man named Edward. "He's not just after your crown. He's after your dignity." She nodded, her eyes fixed on the horizon. "Edward, I know his games, but this time I'm prepared." She ran her fingers across the surface of the Camilla shield, feeling its cold strength. It had been forged from the loyalty of those who believed in her, and from the resilience she'd built through every challenge. It wasn't just a piece of metal. It was her faith in her people, and their faith in her. As the day unfolded, news of Chris Rock's supposed revelations spread across the kingdom. Crowds gathered in market squares and outside the gates of the palace, their faces tense with curiosity and doubt. "What has she been hiding all these years?" some asked. "Is the queen truly the noble ruler we believed her to be?" whispered others. Inside the palace, the queen held court with her advisors. "He's weaving lies," Edward said, pacing the marble floor. "But the people believe him because they want something, anything, to distract them from their own worries." The queen sighed. She had seen this before, the power of a single voice to spread chaos and confusion. "Let him speak," she said calmly. "Let him spread his falsehoods, but when he comes for me directly, I will be ready." Edward frowned. "But Your Majesty, even lies can sound like truth in the right hands." She lifted the Camilla shield, its silver surface catching the light. "This shield has protected me through worse than this," she said firmly. "Chris Rock's words may be sharp, but this shield is stronger. It carries the loyalty of my people, the strength of my family, and the truth that no lie can pierce." The room fell silent. Even Edward had no answer for that. The queen's confidence was unshakable, and the shield glowed with a quiet power that no lie could diminish. Outside, Chris Rock prepared his next move, certain that the queen would falter. He underestimated the power of the Camilla shield and the strength that came from a heart unburdened by guilt. As the sun set and the kingdom held its breath, the queen stood tall, shield in hand, ready to face whatever came next. In that moment, the first battle lines were drawn, lies against truth, deception against loyalty, and at the center of it all stood the queen's Camilla shield, unyielding, unwavering, and ready. As dawn turned to afternoon, the kingdom buzzed with whispers and speculation. Chris Rock's words had spread like wildfire through every street, market, and alley. He stood in the bustling town square, his voice rising above the noise. "The queen hides behind that shield of hers," he declared, pointing dramatically toward the castle. "But she can't hide the truth forever." People gathered in clusters, hanging on to every syllable. Some faces were skeptical, but others wore expressions of doubt and curiosity. Chris had a gift, a way of turning a simple rumor into a scandal. He claimed to have found letters, secret documents that would reveal the queen's true character. A manipulator, a liar, someone unworthy of the trust of her people. Inside the palace, the queen remained calm but alert. She knew Chris Rock was no ordinary opponent. His talent wasn't just in telling jokes. It was in spinning the truth so that even the most loyal subjects began to question her. She sat in the royal council chamber, surrounded by her advisors, the Camilla Shield resting on a velvet stand beside her. Edward entered, his face tense. "Your Majesty, he's claiming he has evidence that you deceived the people," he said. "He's saying you took advantage of their faith in you." The queen's fingers tightened around the edge of her throne. "And do they believe him?" she asked, her voice steady but strained. Edward hesitated. "Some do, yes. People are frightened. They're tired of uncertainty. Chris Rock offers them a story that feels exciting, even if it's false." The queen took a deep breath. She understood that well enough. Fear and uncertainty made people vulnerable. Lies, no matter how ridiculous, could find roots in the cracks of their trust. She reached for the Camilla Shield, its silver surface reflecting the candlelight. "This shield isn't just for me," she said quietly. "It's for them too, to remind them that truth still matters." Edward lowered his head, respect in his eyes. "We must show them that his words are just words," he said, "and that your shield is more than a symbol." Outside, Chris Rock's performance grew even more theatrical. He waved a stack of papers in the air, claiming they held the proof of the queen's lies. "She's been playing you all along," he shouted, a smile on her face and a dagger behind her back. The crowd gasped, some murmuring in agreement, others turning to each other in confusion. A few even shouted insults toward the castle, emboldened by the drama. Chris Rock's grin widened. He thrived on the spectacle. Inside the castle, the queen stood and moved toward the window. From there, she could see the flickering torchlight of the gathering crowd. She closed her eyes for a moment, steadying her thoughts. "If I go out there now," she murmured to herself, "it will be on his terms. His lies will overshadow my truth." Edward approached her side. "Then what will you do?" She turned, determination etched on her face. "I will let him speak. I will let him show his hand. And when the time is right, I will meet him with the shield that bears the strength of everyone who believes in me." Edward nodded slowly. "We'll stand with you, Your Majesty. Lies may spread like fire, but they can't survive in the light of truth." The queen's gaze turned toward the Camilla Shield once more. She lifted it gently, feeling its weight. It was more than just metal and craftsmanship. It was a promise that she would protect her people from every deceit, every manipulation. No matter how convincing Chris Rock's lies became, the truth would always find a way to shine through. As the night crept in, the queen prepared herself for the coming battle. She knew that words could wound deeper than swords, but with the Camilla Shield by her side, she would stand firm, ready to confront the lies that threatened to divide her kingdom. Night had fully settled over the kingdom, and with it came an eerie stillness. In the queen's private chambers, she found herself unable to sleep. The events of the day, the rumors, the accusations, the confusion, played in her mind like an unending song. She turned to the Camilla Shield resting on its stand near her bedside. Its polished surface reflected the soft glow of candlelight, but it was more than just a gleaming piece of metal. It was a legacy, forged in times of trial. Her mind drifted back to the origins of the shield, a story not many in the kingdom knew. Years ago, before the queen ascended the throne, the kingdom faced a great betrayal. A powerful noble, once thought to be loyal, had conspired to overthrow the monarchy. He spread lies, sowed discord among the people, and almost succeeded in his treachery. During that time, a humble blacksmith named Camilla, known for her strength and wisdom, had forged a shield unlike any other. It wasn't made from mere iron, but from the unity of the kingdom itself. Every night, every loyal citizen contributed a piece of metal, a token of their faith in their future queen. Camilla smelted these offerings with skill and love, forging them into a shield that embodied the kingdom's strength and resilience. When the treacherous noble attacked the castle, the queen, still a princess then, had wielded the Camilla Shield to block his assaults, both physical and verbal. With the shield in her grasp, she rallied her people, proving that no single voice could overpower the unity of the kingdom. The traitors' lies crumbled, and the people stood behind their rightful ruler. The shield had become a symbol of unbreakable loyalty and unwavering truth. As the queen sat by the fire that night, she remembered every detail of that battle, the fear, the chaos, the doubt, and then the overwhelming surge of hope as the shield glowed with the power of the people who believed in her. That memory had kept her strong through every challenge that followed. A gentle knock interrupted her thoughts. Edward entered quietly, his face lined with concern. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice low, "the rumors are growing stronger. Chris Rock's words are like poison in the air. Even some of the guards have started to question their faith in you." The queen's heart tightened, but she refused to let the fear show. "Then they have forgotten what this shield stands for," she said firmly. She rose and lifted the Camilla Shield, feeling its familiar weight. "Edward, remind them. Tell them how this shield was forged, not from metal alone, but from the hearts of every person who refused to believe the lies. Tell them that as long as we stand together, no deceit can pierce this defense." Edward nodded, his eyes brightening with determination. "Yes, Your Majesty, I will remind them, and I will make sure they remember why they believed in you in the first place." As Edward left the chamber, the queen turned back to the shield. She traced the intricate etchings along its surface, symbols of unity, strength, and truth. "You have protected me before," she whispered. "You have protected all of us, and now you will do so again." Outside the castle walls, Chris Rock continued his performance, weaving stories of betrayal and corruption. But inside the queen's heart, a quiet strength bloomed. The shield was more than a defense. It was a promise that the truth, no matter how hidden, would always find its way to the light. With that thought, she felt a calm resolve settle over her. Tomorrow, she would face Chris Rock's lies head-on. And with the Camilla Shield at her side, she would stand for the truth and for every person who had forged that shield with her. As dawn's first light crept across the sky, the kingdom awoke to a tense hush. News had spread that Chris Rock was preparing a grand demonstration, an event he promised would expose the queen's hidden lies. People gathered in the town square, eyes wide with anticipation and dread. The queen stood by the window in her private chambers, watching as a sea of faces turned toward the makeshift stage Chris Rock had erected in the heart of the square. Inside the castle, Edward bustled with anxious energy. "Your Majesty," he said breathless, "he's ready to reveal his so-called evidence. He claims he has letters that prove your betrayal." The queen turned to him, her face calm but resolute. "Edward," she said, "I have nothing to hide. Let him show his lies." She lifted the Camilla Shield from its stand and held it close. "I trust in the truth and in the strength of this shield." Edward frowned, but the people are already questioning. His words have sunk deep. What if they believe him? She met his gaze, unwavering. "Then we show them that truth doesn't tremble in the face of lies. We let him speak, and then I will stand before them all and face him. Let the shield do what it was made to do." In the town square, Chris Rock took the stage, his expression gleeful. He held a bundle of papers high, waving them for all to see. "Ladies and gentlemen of this kingdom, he shouted, his voice booming with theatrical flair. "Behold the proof, letters written by your queen herself, confessions of betrayal and deceit. She claims to care for you, but behind these castle walls, she mocks your faith." Gasps echoed through the crowd. Faces turned toward the castle with suspicion and anger. Some began to mutter among themselves, their doubts fanned by Chris Rock's performance. At that moment, the queen emerged from the castle gates, the Camilla Shield held high. The crowd parted as she walked forward, her presence calm and commanding. Every eye in the square turned to her. Chris Rock grinned, confident that victory was his. "So, Your Majesty," he sneered, "do you deny these letters? Will you admit the truth to your people at last?" The queen stepped onto the stage, her shield gleaming in the sunlight. "Chris Rock," she said, her voice steady, "you call these letters proof? Then show them to the people. Let them see your evidence." Chris Rock hesitated, his grin faltering for the briefest of moments. Then he raised the bundle of papers high. "These letters are sealed," he declared. "Their contents too scandalous to read aloud. But trust me, they prove her lies." A murmur of confusion swept through the crowd. The queen held up the Camilla Shield. "Sealed letters? That's not proof. That's a performance. You hide behind your theatrics because you have no truth to show." She turned to the people. "This shield was forged by the loyalty of this kingdom," she continued. "It has faced blades, arrows, and lies before. It has never failed me because it is made of your trust. Lies can shout, but they can never break what we've built together." Chris Rock's smile wavered. The crowd's uncertainty turned to doubt as they studied his papers. Papers that remained unread, sealed, and suspiciously convenient. A few voices in the crowd began to call out, "Show us the letters." Others echoed, "Read them now." Chris Rock stammered. It's too dangerous," he said, his voice faltering. "They contain things that could—" But the queen raised the Camilla Shield high, its surface reflecting the sun like a beacon. "The truth has nothing to fear," she said. "Let the lies show themselves for what they are." The crowd's energy shifted. Where there had been fear, now there was suspicion of Chris Rock's intentions, of his so-called proof. In that moment, the queen knew the Camilla Shield had begun its work. It had blocked the first wave of lies, letting the light of truth seep through the cracks. A heavy silence fell over the town square as Chris Rock's bravado crumbled under the queen's unwavering presence. The sealed letters he waved so dramatically moments before now seemed flimsy, their edges curling in his sweaty grip. Murmurs ran through the crowd, growing louder with every heartbeat. The queen stood tall, her Camilla Shield catching the first rays of the rising sun. She could see the doubt creeping into the faces before her. Her people had come seeking answers, and though Chris Rock had given them noise and spectacle, he had failed to deliver the proof he promised. But the battle wasn't over yet. Chris Rock, ever the performer, found his voice again. "She's clever, this queen of yours," he spat, his voice dripping with disdain. "She hides behind that shield, behind symbols and sweet words. But she knows her guilt." He gestured wildly at the letters. "These contain everything, her secret deals, her broken promises, the ways she's betrayed each and every one of you." Some in the crowd gasped. Others turned suspicious eyes toward the queen. The seed of doubt was there, and Chris Rock's poison was quick to spread. The queen felt the weight of their stares. Her heart ached to see the trust she'd spent a lifetime nurturing being torn apart. Edward, standing by her side, whispered urgently, "Your Majesty, we can't let him keep weaving these lies. We must show them the truth." The queen took a deep breath. She knew the Camilla Shield was more than a defense. It was a bridge between her and her people. With it, she had the power to reach them. She raised the shield high, letting it catch the light. "People of this kingdom," she called out, her voice strong and clear, "you have always known me. You have seen me lead, you have seen me fight for you, and you have seen me stand by you. I have nothing to hide." She turned to Chris Rock. "You speak of letters. Show them. Read them aloud. Let the people hear your so-called proof." Chris Rock's eyes darted left and right. His hands trembled. It's too dangerous," he repeated weakly. "The things in these letters?" "Then you have no proof," the Queen cut him off. "Lies hide in the shadows, but the truth fears no light." A ripple of agreement moved through the crowd. Someone near the front called out, "If he's telling the truth, let him prove it." Others chimed in, voices growing louder. "Show us," they demanded. "Read them." Chris Rock's confidence faltered, his carefully constructed web unraveling in the face of the Queen's unyielding resolve. His lips parted, but no words came. He clutched the letters to his chest like a lifeline, his eyes darting in desperation. The Queen took a step forward, her shield shining like a beacon. "People of the kingdom," she continued, "I stand before you with nothing to hide. I have always served you with honesty and loyalty. This shield was forged from your trust, from every promise I've kept and every battle I've fought by your side. Lies can never destroy what we've built together." The crowd erupted in cheers, their faith in her reignited by her courage and unwavering commitment to the truth. Chris Rock stood frozen, his lies exposed, his showmanship useless. Edward leaned in, his face a mixture of relief and pride. "Your Majesty," he whispered, "you've turned the tide. They believe in you again." The Queen lowered her shield, her heart steady. "They believe in themselves," she corrected gently, "and in the truth we've always shared." Above them, the morning sun shone brighter, and the kingdom seemed to breathe a collective sigh of relief. The Queen knew the battle wasn't over, but with her people and her Camilla Shield, she was ready to face whatever Chris Rock tried next. Night had settled over the kingdom once more, casting long shadows across the palace grounds. Though the Queen had managed to deflect Chris Rock's lies that morning, doubt still lingered in the corners of the people's minds like a stubborn fog. She knew that winning a single battle didn't mean the war was over. Inside her private chambers, the Queen sat near the hearth, the Camilla Shield resting on a stand beside her. The silver surface seemed to glow faintly in the flickering firelight, a reminder of the faith it represented. She ran her fingers over its intricate engravings, feeling the history etched into every line, a testament to the loyalty and strength of the people who had given her their trust. A soft knock at the door interrupted her thoughts. Edward entered, carrying a small, leather-bound journal in his hands. He looked troubled. "Your Majesty," he began, his voice heavy with worry. "The lies Chris Rock sowed today have begun to spread beyond the square. Some of the outer villages are refusing to send supplies. Merchants are hesitant to trade. Even some of the guards whisper behind closed doors." The Queen's heart clenched at the news. She knew how fear worked, how it crept into the minds of good people and made them question what they knew. "Edward," she said softly, "truth is a fragile thing in the face of doubt." Edward nodded grimly. "They fear that if the lies are true, their trust has been misplaced. They fear they were fools." The Queen sighed, her eyes distant. "I understand that fear," she admitted. "There were days when even I questioned if I was strong enough to carry the weight of this crown. But every time I returned to the shield, to the trust that forged it, the promises it represents. It has always reminded me that I do not stand alone." Edward lowered his head respectfully. "And that's what you must remind them too, Your Majesty," he said. "The shield is not just yours. It belongs to all of us. They need to remember why they believed in you." She looked at him with a small, grateful smile. "You're right, Edward. The shield stands for more than just my protection. It's a symbol of the kingdom's unity and strength." With renewed determination, the queen rose from her chair and lifted the Camilla Shield. She held it close, feeling its weight, a reminder that trust was both a burden and a blessing. "Tomorrow," she said firmly, "I will address the people. I will remind them of our shared battles, our shared victories. I will remind them that lies can only divide us if we let them." Edward's eyes shone with pride. "We will stand with you, Your Majesty. Every loyal heart in this kingdom will stand with you." As the queen prepared for the coming day, a memory came back to her. One of her mother's words: "Strength is not the absence of doubt, but the courage to stand in its face." She realized that the shield's true power wasn't in its silver surface, but in the unity of the people who had poured their hope into it. In that quiet moment, the queen made a silent vow. No matter how many lies Chris Rock spun, she would not let them break the bond between her and her people. The Camilla Shield would stand as proof that loyalty could never be shattered by deceit. As the fire burned low and the kingdom slept, the queen found her resolve. The shield glowed faintly in the darkness, a promise that when dawn came, she would face the kingdom with the strength of a leader who stood not just for herself, but for them all. Morning dawned crisp and cool, with a promise of change in the air. The queen stood at the highest balcony of the castle, overlooking the courtyard below where the people had gathered. The Camilla Shield, polished to a mirror finish, rested on her left arm. She had called this assembly herself, determined to address the lies that still clung to the kingdom like a stubborn stain. Edward stood beside her, his face set with resolve. "They're waiting for you, Your Majesty," he said softly. "They're ready to hear the truth, but also afraid of what they might learn." The queen nodded, her heart steady. She had spent a sleepless night preparing for this moment, knowing that words had the power to heal or to harm. With the shield at her side, she would remind her people of who they were and why they had always stood together. She stepped forward, her voice strong as it carried across the courtyard. "People of this kingdom," she began, "you have heard many things these past days. Accusations, rumors, and lies. Chris Rock has painted me as a deceiver, a traitor to your trust. He waves letters that he will not open, claims truths that he will not share. And yet you have seen me stand before you, shield in hand, heart unguarded. I ask you now, who do you believe?" A murmur rose through the crowd, some faces tense with uncertainty, others nodding in silent agreement. The queen continued, raising the Camilla Shield so that all could see its gleaming surface. "This shield was not forged by one hand alone," she said. "It was created by each and every one of you. Your trust, your loyalty, your unwavering belief that together we are stronger than any lie. This shield is our bond, and no words of deceit can break it." At the edge of the crowd, Chris Rock appeared, his expression a mix of arrogance and desperation. "Your words are sweet, Your Majesty," he called out, his voice loud enough to silence the murmurs. "But they're just that, words. I have the proof in my hands. These letters—" "Then read them," the queen interrupted sharply, her voice slicing through the air like a blade. "Show the people your truth, if you dare." Chris Rock hesitated, the bundle of letters trembling in his grasp. His eyes darted across the expectant faces in the crowd, searching for a sympathetic glance, but none came. "You see," the queen said, her tone calm but firm, "he will not read them because they contain no truth. only his lies, meant to divide us. She lifted the Camilla Shield higher. This shield represents every promise I have made and every promise I have kept. Lies can spread like fire, but this shield is forged from the truth we share. A hush fell over the crowd. Even the wind seemed to hold its breath. Slowly the people began to step forward, heads held high. One by one they touched the edge of the shield in silent solidarity. The old farmer with a bent back, the young mother holding her child, the soldier with a scar on his cheek. Each one carried the same message. We believe in you. Chris Rock's face paled. His voice faltered as he tried to speak, but no sound came. He clutched the letters to his chest, but their power was gone. The queen lowered her shield and looked out at her people. We are one, she said. No lie can break what we have built together. Let this shield stand as a reminder. Truth is our strength, and together we are unstoppable. A cheer rose through the crowd, swelling like a wave. The queen knew the battle was not yet over, but in that moment she felt her kingdom's faith restored. The Camilla Shield shone brightly, a symbol of their unbreakable bond. As the sun reached its peak in the sky, the queen felt the warmth of its rays on her face, like a silent blessing. She stood at the center of the town square, the Camilla Shield glinting in the sunlight. Her people gathered around her. Their eyes were filled with a mix of anticipation and resolve. The confrontation with Chris Rock was far from over, and she knew that the final battle between lies and truth would define the fate of her reign. Chris Rock stood at the edge of the square, his face a mask of forced confidence. He had tried to divide the people with his lies, but the queen's unwavering stand had rattled his foundation. Still, he refused to back down. He stepped forward, his voice dripping with contempt. You think you can hide behind that shield forever, Your Majesty? He sneered. The people deserve to know the truth. Even your shield can't block every secret you've tried to bury. The queen took a step forward, her shield raised. This shield was never meant to hide anything, she said, her voice steady and unwavering. It was forged to protect the truth, and to remind us all that unity can withstand any lie. Chris Rock's eyes narrowed, and he reached into his coat, pulling out a crumpled paper. He held it high for all to see. Then let's see how your shield holds up to this, he shouted, unfolding the paper with a flourish. A confession, signed by the queen herself, admitting to betrayal. A hush fell over the crowd, eyes wide with shock and confusion. Even Edward's face paled as he stared at the paper. The queen felt a pang of uncertainty in her chest, but she refused to let it show. She stepped closer, her shield gleaming in the sun. Read it, she said, her voice calm. Let the people hear your so-called proof. Chris Rock hesitated, his fingers trembling as he held the paper. His eyes darted to the crowd, but no one moved. The people's faith in the queen shone in their eyes, and he felt the weight of that belief pressing down on him. With a shaking voice, he began to read. I, the queen, confess to... His voice faltered as he scanned the paper, his brow furrowed in confusion. Wait, this isn't what I... The queen stepped forward, her shield raised high. You see, Chris Rock, she said, her voice ringing out like a bell, lies cannot survive in the light of truth. That paper you hold is a forgery, planted by your own hand. You never expected to read it aloud. You counted on your words alone to do the damage. A murmur spread through the crowd as realization dawned on their faces. Chris Rock's hands trembled as he clutched the paper, the lie exposed for all to see. The queen turned to her people. This shield, she said, holding it high, is not just a defense against weapons. It is a defense against lies. It is forged from every truth we share, every loyalty we hold. No lie, no matter how cunning, can pierce it. A roar of support rose from the crowd. The queen felt tears prick at the corners of her eyes, not from sadness, but from pride. Her people stood with her, their unity shining brighter than any lie Chris Rock could spin. Chris Rock stumbled back, his face pale and defeated. The queen lowered her shield slightly, her eyes never leaving his. "You may try to deceive us again," she said, her voice strong. "But know this, the truth will always rise, and this shield will always protect it." As the cheers of her people filled the square, the queen knew that no matter how many lies Chris Rock had in his arsenal, the Camilla Shield and the unity it represented would always be stronger. As the cheers of the crowd filled the square, Chris Rock's defiance crumbled like a castle made of sand. His eyes darted from one face to another, seeking a flicker of support, but found only disappointment and anger. The queen's shield shone like a star in the midday sun, and its glow reflected in the eyes of her people. She watched as Chris Rock's confidence faltered. His mouth opened, but no words came. His bundle of forged papers, now worthless, hung limply at his side. It was over. The lies had unraveled, and the truth had risen, stronger than any deceit. Edward stepped forward, his voice steady and clear. "Chris Rock, you stand accused of sowing division and spreading lies to undermine the Queen and this kingdom. What do you say in your defense?" Chris Rock's shoulders sagged. He looked smaller than he ever had before. I only wanted to expose the truth," he stammered weakly. I thought she was hiding something. I thought I could be the hero." The queen lowered her shield slightly, her eyes soft but unwavering. "A hero," she repeated. "A hero does not thrive on deception. A hero stands for what is right, even when it is hard. You chose lies because they were easy, and now the people see you for what you are." The crowd murmured in agreement, their faith in her shining bright. Some faces showed anger, others pity, but all looked to the queen with trust. Chris Rock's voice dropped to a whisper. "I never wanted to hurt anyone," he said, tears glistening in his eyes. "I just wanted to matter." The queen's heart ached for him, but she knew the kingdom's trust had to be rebuilt fully, without compromise. "We all want to matter," she said gently, "but true worth comes from honesty, not from tearing others down." She raised the Camilla Shield high once more. "This shield will forever stand as a reminder that unity cannot be destroyed by lies, that truth, no matter how fragile, is always stronger than the darkest deceit." A wave of relief swept over the crowd. The people stepped forward again, some reaching out to touch the shield, to share in the victory of truth over lies. Even those who had once doubted her stood with heads high, their faith restored. Edward turned to the queen, pride shining in his eyes. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice filled with emotion, "you have restored what he tried to destroy. The kingdom stands united once again." She nodded, her heart swelling with gratitude. "No single shield can protect a kingdom," she said softly. "It is the hearts of the people that make it strong." Chris Rock sank to his knees, his head bowed. "What will you do with me?" he asked, his voice trembling. The queen regarded him, her expression firm yet compassionate. "Your lies have caused pain, but every soul deserves a chance to learn. You will be given a fair trial," she declared. "Justice will be served, not through vengeance, but through truth." A collective murmur of approval rose from the crowd. The people had seen enough lies. They were ready for fairness and healing. As the guards gently led Chris Rock away, the queen felt the weight of the past days lift from her shoulders. The Camilla Shield, once a silent witness to the kingdom's turmoil, now glowed brighter than ever. It had not only blocked the lies, but had reminded the people of their unity and strength. The queen turned to the crowd, her voice clear and strong. "Let this day be remembered," she said, "not as the day we were divided by lies, but as the day we stood together and proved that the truth will always triumph." The sun began its slow descent beyond the castle walls, painting the sky in shades of gold and rose. The queen stood on the grand balcony overlooking her kingdom, the Camilla Shield resting against her arm. Its surface gleamed in the evening light, a testament to the battles fought and the lies defeated. Below her, the town square buzzed with a new energy. Where uncertainty had once lurked, there was now hope. Families gathered, merchants reopened their stalls, and children ran laughing through the streets. The kingdom had weathered the storm and emerged stronger. Edward stood at the queen's side, his posture proud yet humble. "Your Majesty," he said, his voice tinged with relief. "The people have spoken. Their faith in you is unwavering. Chris Rock's lies could not tear down what you built." The queen smiled, though her eyes carried a trace of weariness. "It wasn't just me who built this, Edward," she said. "It was all of us, every loyal heart who believed in this kingdom and in each other. The Camilla Shield was forged from that faith, and it is that same faith that saved us." She turned and walked down the steps to the courtyard, where a small crowd had gathered. The people fell silent as she approached, their faces expectant. She held the shield high, its surface catching the last rays of sunlight. "My friends," she began, her voice steady and warm, "these past days have tested us. Lies threatened to divide us, to turn us against each other. But together, we stood strong. We faced those lies, and we refused to be broken by them." A cheer rose from the crowd, a sound like a wave washing away the remnants of doubt. The queen continued, "Chris Rock thought he could sow mistrust among us, but he underestimated the strength of our bond. This shield," she said, lifting it higher, "is not just mine. It belongs to all of you. It is a promise that the truth will always be our greatest weapon." She lowered the shield and looked at each face in the crowd. "I promise you this. I will always stand with you, as you have stood with me. No lie, no matter how cleverly spun, can destroy what we've built together. Our unity is our strength, and as long as we hold it close, no force in this world can break us." Edward stepped forward, his voice firm. "Your Majesty, you have shown us that a leader's strength is not just in power or words, but in trust, humility, and the courage to stand for what is right." The people nodded, their eyes bright with admiration. Some reached out to touch the shield, their hands lingering on its cool surface as if drawing strength from it. The queen felt her heart swell with pride. "Thank you," she said softly, her voice filled with emotion, "for your faith, for your courage, for standing by me even when doubt whispered lies." She lifted the shield one last time, letting the setting sun bathe it in light. "Let this shield stand as a symbol of our kingdom's resilience, a reminder that together we are unstoppable." As the last light of day faded, the people began to disperse, their steps light and hopeful. The queen remained on the balcony, her gaze fixed on the horizon. She knew challenges would come again, as they always did. But with the Camilla Shield at her side and the faith of her people in her heart, she felt ready to face whatever lay ahead. In the quiet of the evening, as the first stars appeared overhead, the queen whispered a vow to herself and to her kingdom. "Truth and unity will always be our strength, and together we will always rise." The Camilla Shield gleamed in the night, a beacon of hope and resilience, forever guarding the truth.